Then in November of 42, we got orders to fly up to the Solomon Islands to support the Marines because they had a big task force coming in. And I got into Espiritu Santo on the 11th and got into Guadalcanal on the 12th. And for a minute, we thought they were going to shoot at us because the 26th looked just like the Jap Betty bombers that had been bombing Guadalcanal. Anyway, we landed just at dark, and we had just missed the Jap fleet, thank God, or we'd have been going for torpedoes runs on the Jap fleet. That night, we woke up around 11 o'clock for a condition red, which meant they were going to shell Henderson Field again. And we all hit for the different foxholes they had around the area. And but no shells hit the field, and the next thing we heard was this terrific fighting. And we got out of the dugouts and foxholes and stood around and watched a naval battle from the shores of Guadalcanal. And that was the night of the 13th, 14th, I believe it was, or the night of the 12th, can't recall now. But that's when they lost a couple of cruisers, the Chicago and another one. That's when Admirals Callahan and another admiral lost their lives. But the Jap fleet turned around and went back north, and we didn't have any worry. The next morning, we were to run a bombing mission. Well, first of all, the Navy admiral said, we don't need a B-26 carrying torpedoes with 7 men. We've got a little Navy ship with only 3 men that'll do the same job, which made us very happy that we didn't have to carry any more torpedoes. In the meantime, that night of that naval battle, the next morning there were 4 beach Jap transports about anywhere from 1 to 5 miles up the coast, which had unloaded troops and were unloading supplies. So we went to a briefing, and they told us that 4 of the ships that we had would fly a high altitude bombing mission to bomb the ships. And then they wanted to know if some of the ships could fly a low level ground support mission for the Marines who were fighting the troops that had been unloaded from these transports. So our commander said yes. So 6 ships were loaded with 2,100-pound bombs. And they said, well, we were briefed that the Marines would put a red panel out in front of their lines, and anything beyond that line was fair game. So 6 ships with 2,100-pound bombs took off, made a circle out at the end of the runway, came right back over the runway, and we only flew about 2 minutes when we passed over the panel the Marines had laid out, and we bombed in train for the support of these troops that were in the Marine troops that we were helping. And we dropped all 20 bombs in train, 50-foot intervals, and that was 6 ships flying abreast in a line. And we were knocked about, I should say, pretty bad from the concussion of our own bombs, being only at 1,000 foot in altitude. Our gunners, every gunner on the ship, every man on the ship had a gun except the pilot and the co-pilot, and they fired everything they had at anything that was moving down below. And you could see the Jap gunners shooting up at us as we went over their lines and made a swift turn and to come back. When we got back, we told them we needed more gas, and they said, we can't afford to give you the gas. You guys got to get out of here. So we went that next morning. We all transferred our stuff back into the aircraft and took off and flew back to Espiritu Santo. We lost 1 ship there on the way back. We got to Espiritu Santo, and they turned around and said, you guys are going back up there. They got another big fight coming. Well, we only had 6 ships left that could make it back, and I was one of them. We got back to Guadalcanal the next day. Our ship went out. The other 5 ships, they took off and did a bombing mission. And we got caught in the middle of a Japanese air raid. We had to get off the ground and circle out over the end of the field until the Japs left the area. Then we all went back. We went back to Fiji to